Hey tubers, so the door jambs are painted finally on all four doors, and it's time to think about installing the doors to do a final alignment. But the problem is I work by myself most of the time and I can't really hold the door and put it in place. So I made this little thing, and this is what this video is about. It's nothing fancy, but it's made from scraps. That's my floor jack. And I needed something that I could balance the door here while I would be busy fastening it to the body. So I took the bottom plate off here. It's just a 10 millimeter Allen that's down in this hole. It unscrews. I ended up drilling, let me show you here. I drilled the plate and countersunk 2 screws into this scrap oak that I had. Doesn't have to be oak. So that I could set the door on here. The door lip goes against here, and then the door body sits on here. I've seen a fixture that you can do basically the same thing, but where it sits like it has V's, kind of like that, where the door sits on here. I just didn't want anything on the edge here, so it sits on this plate that sits here. So the next thing that I did was put these pieces of plastic conduit on the bottom. You can kind of see, in retrospect, these should have been steel conduit because they're a little bit flexy, but it really doesn't matter too much, honestly, because the door is not moving back and forth and it's not bouncing. It just needs to sit here, and so it just gently leans up against this side, and it gives me enough height to assemble the door or mount the door to the body. So let me show you roughly what my plan is. So the door will sit in here like that. I just put a blanket to protect the bottom. And now, if everything is aligned, I should be able to scooch this in close enough so that I could kind of sort of manipulate it into place. So with a little bit of movement of the jack and so on, I figure I could get that to align pretty well. Certainly better than if I was trying to hold this door with one hand and, you know, working the fasteners on the other. The mistake that I made, I guess it would have been almost 3 years ago now, is while the door was fully assembled, because the back doors were really well aligned, I should have drilled 2 holes all the way through the hinge and the body on all 4 hinges, so that I could, you know, have that as a reference point and really understand, you know, how to reassemble it and where the alignment was going to be. But I didn't do that, so we're going to start from scratch. The other thing that I didn't do was label or take a picture or mark what the shim packs were going to be. So these hinges, or these shims, I believe go to that hinge down on the bottom. That kind of makes sense, like this, you know, like that. And the other shim goes with the other ones. So I don't know. I will have to see. I am going to get new seals anyway, so I may end up having to re-shim everything. And certainly there are a lot of shims that went with the striker plate. I mean, all of these between the 4 doors are from the striker. So we'll see. But first things first, I need to, I think, add a little bit more color to that bottom hinge. You can't really see it on camera, but I was a little bit light, and I know it probably doesn't make a lot of difference, but while it's loose, I am gonna just add a little bit more color there, and then get to fastening. So it should work. I'll let you know. Next video will be about mounting the doors.